There are literally millions of dollars up for grabs for people who learn to do this type of marketing. You guys, in this video, you're going to jump right into the middle of a conversation that I was having with two very seasoned marketers about how to make a bunch of money by doing a very specific type of lead generation. And it's lead generation that promotes event workshops. So if you want to see how to scale a business and make real profit, check it out.
But I've been in the trenches grinding my ass off. Growing my agency, I actually started in the clinic side. My close friend, my wife, was his first hire in Jacksonville, Florida. And then I had a really good sales job, and he's like, dude, like, I need help marketing. I was like, hey, I think I know how to do this. And so I just on the side, after a Christmas party event one year, this is back in 2017, I did his marketing like in January that next year. And he had his best month ever. And he did like 580,000 cash collected, which for a single location clinic, is that's hustling. Yeah, that's hustling. Most clinics are like 20K to 100K, So he's like, man, I got to get you on full time. What do I got to do? And I had a good big boy sales job selling like NASA and SpaceX and shit like that, doing a bunch of engineering and construction jobs. And he gave me ownership of the company, and we opened up like 80 other locations. With his brand, I was the operations and marketing manager, had ownership in the company. We were killing it. That's how I got this bad boy behind me. We were doing probably a couple $1 million a month, cash collected between all the offices. And then COVID hit, and of course went up overnight, like zero, literally, because we were doing the dinner seminars. That's what we were doing. And so during COVID in September of 2020, I created a series of commercials and webinars and set up Doxy.me before it was like mainstream, for doctors. And I was charging 5 or 10K to build out a webinar funnel for them that took me probably 2 hours to build. And I was one of the first people on Go High Level 5 years ago, before like anybody even knew about it. I was in ClickFunnels and then switched over to Go High Level back in 2020. So, and it was still fairly new back then. And was just setting up Go High Level webinars, and people were like, "Oh my God, this is mind blowing!" And I made $1 million that year during COVID, and like just without zero marketing, without zero ad spend, just word of mouth, people needing it to survive. And so that's when I went all in on my agency in 2020, and have been just grinding that basically ever since. And so we do webinars, seminars, obviously Google ads, Facebook ads, websites, the whole full fulfillment. Basically, we have a full team to help a clinic grow. And it's definitely not easy, as you know, I'm sure. Some clients have $20 a day ad spend and want 10 new stem cell patients a month. I'm like, dude, not gonna happen. But overall, it's been a blast of a ride. I mean, we were $1 million agency in the first year because of COVID, and just been grinding and growing ever since. So
that's awesome. I tell you what, event marketing is something that I've spent some time on. I mean, Derek, you've seen me talking about it. We coach some on it. But at one point in time in my own agency, it was like pre-pandemic, it was like 85% of my revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And all I did as an agency is I would get paid per event, right? And I would just drive people to a dinner workshop or, whatever workshop, and I would make money. I remember we had one guy that would travel around in the Puget Sound, and he did 8 of those workshops per month.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
And so that one clinic was paying me $8,000 a month.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And yes, the pandemic did make it so we had to change our game plan really quickly. But it's really interesting. So let's just kind of scale back for the viewer just a little bit. Now there is, and Derek, you know this, when you first start doing lead generation, the game is lead generation. I want high quality leads, but really what you want is somebody that knows how to nurture and prospect through a lead pool, right? A finding pool. And people just complain a lot because they don't know how to take these leads that are coming in every single day and turn those into sales. Well, if you sell something that's not just a discounted offer or a whatever the thing is, if you sell a workshop, if you sell the thing that sells the thing, you can remove a lot of the pitfalls that happen with traditional lead generation, right? And you could say, okay, well, this could be dinner workshops, this could be seminars, this could be webinars, this could be challenges. Like, how do you think Alex Hormozi got big?
Right.
Alex Hormozi promoted a 6-week challenge. This is the same. He sold the thing that sold the thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
and that's what interests me about UpHex. Like, I would love to figure out how to use UpHex in our workflow and just hammer these seminars. So we do, like Derek said, we probably do 30 to 40 every week across the country. And I'm trying to quadruple that this year. And I have like 8 salespeople that are going to be like ringers and flying in and doing the speaking. And we're going to be selling this as like a business in a box model. So I really need to figure out how to get this more streamlined. And I'm hoping UpHex can maybe make that easy. I'm sure it probably can. You know,
dude,
so
that's what we were made to do. Like we started UpHex to scratch our own itch, right? And we were running workshops. We used to have our clinics fill out a form, whatever, like, you know, where's your thing? What's your topic? Blah, blah, blah.
That's what we do. Yep.
We currently do that now. Yeah.
That's what we do right on our website. It's our home button.
So Justin, they would click the button. It would go to my team and they would get a date when it needed to be done. And we would do the entire event in 1 minute.
Wow. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Can you wait to get? We can't wait to get there.
In 1 minute, right? Because the best marketers of all time realized one very important thing. Once you get an ad creative, okay, the creative, the copy, the offer, and it works, you don't reinvent the wheel.
Right.
You do it over and over and over and over, which means that's good news, because that means that marketing control is really a template. Okay. And so a template has those creatives uploaded. In fact, Justin, I could take if you connected one of your ad accounts to UpHex, I could click a button and import the entire thing and templatize it in 1 minute.
Yeah. And that's what we need. I mean, I know obviously we've been looking at UpHex for a year or two, but we've been busy, right? And that's like, I know we need to take a step back and use UpHex and build out these templates, because that's been my biggest complaint in my team is like, we reinvent the wheel for every client. I feel like we have to customize it for every client and like give them a non-cookie cutter approach. But like that, like you said, it takes away from the control. You don't know if it's going to work or not. And that's where I think we have client churn issues. Is like, stick with the meat and potatoes, the control that works for sure out of the gates. And then if it doesn't, we can prod it, whatever you got to do to get it to sing and dance for you. But yeah, I think that control variable is huge. And I hate cookie cutter, but at the same time, if it works, dude, it works. Like, who cares? You know?
Well, what's beautiful is if you look at a car, 80%, let's call it 75% of the car is the same throughout any car you've ever purchased in your entire life. They all had an engine. They all had doors. They all had windows. They all had steering wheel, wheels. Like, they didn't reinvent those things. They painted it a different color and it slightly looks different. So that's it. Like, that's the only thing they did. Ta-da, it's a trend. And you paid like $30,000 more. And you're like, yeah, I got a new car. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Like, kidding? So, like, that's what's beautiful about this is because, like, anybody can customize an ad from the UpHex template and build custom variables. But one of the points that I think doesn't need to be skipped over for the audience that listens to this, coming from a different perspective, these guys are seminars. I come from real estate, working with realtors. So if you're listening to this right now and you're like, oh yeah, cool, seminars, great for them, hang tight, because the real gold here is, and I missed this too in my agency. I had another realtor talk to me about, I run Facebook ads and I have people come to a local space, like a restaurant, a bar, and we do buyer seminars for them. And he said, we convert within about 2 to 3 months, we convert 80% of the room from a buyer seminar for real estate agents. So if you are watching this and you're like, oh, well, I don't do medical like Sam and Justin, like, hang tight, because whatever that your niche is, you got to think outside the box. It's the only way to get one of those plaques like Justin has. Like, you've got to think outside the box, and you have to come at this from like, how can I get my client toe to toe with the people he wants to see?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether, and if you're in marketer thinking like that, I promise you, like the game will change.
One of my buddies does it in
There
the insurance space. In the insurance space, he does like $2 million a month and just sells insurance to potential reps. And it's literally just a sales seminar to people who want to get insurance. It's like a big MLM, scheme from what I can understand, but like he kills it. And so he does it all through seminars. And so, direct mailers, obviously, if you ever did those, Sam, work great for him. Facebook ads obviously work great for him. So I love events. I love event marketing. And I think that's a really uncapped niche, just because anybody can run a Facebook ad, especially UpHex. I mean, you set yourself a minute, you can have ads up. Like, that's not anything special. But seminars, it does take a little bit of a, in my opinion, maybe not with UpHex, but it takes a little bit of a thought process, takes a little bit of work from the client, of the agency. So it's the learning curve and the expertise to put them on successfully, I think, is a little bit higher. And so the competition there, I have like, on the seminar side of things, I have like 2 competitors that I compete with on events, and they're not that great at it. So like, we crush events, and it keeps most of our clients that sign up with us, if they're doing events, they stay around for 6 months, a year minimum, where the average churn in the agency space nowadays, I've heard, is like 1.8 months, something crazy. So,
well, and I'll tell you where this potentially could go for you, Justin.
Just enough to go broke. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I'll tell you where this eventually can lead, like what this can do. Obviously, you're crushing it already, right?
Yeah.
If you install UpHex and you get that automation basically to where it's like, hey, we rinse, wash, and repeat so many events and so easily, so effortlessly, that you can scale up to whatever level you really want to, right?
Right.
Where this can go is, we've got a gal that does a very similar thing in the martial arts space. Okay. Right. Rebecca Duran does this same thing, but she licenses it in martial arts, and she drives people to the studio for a parent and kid event, and she fills up studios just like
that's huge.
That.
That's huge.
And this can be done in any niche. In real estate, Derek's talking about it. It's like, okay, how would I do it? You know what I would do? In Idaho, we do this thing called Parade of Homes, right? And every year, and people love it, but they do it like once a year. I'm thinking to myself, dude, I would have a monthly Parade of Homes that I curated. You registered for that thing, and then we created an event out of it, right? And to Derek's point, the only limitation is your creativity. But every agency, if you get to the point to where you're smart and you're looking for your own unique mechanism, like some variation of hey, what is the thing that's going to sell my thing? Right. Like, what is the thing that sells the thing? If you can figure that out, you can have a $34 million exit like Alex Hormozy. Right. Yeah. Going back to that as an example.
Yeah. Sell the thing. Yeah, I agree. And that's like in the med spa space. I mean, Sam, perfect example of that. It was like, med spa space is super competitive. Everybody gets into med spa or chiropractors. I mean, that's like I just started my own agency 101 niche that people go after. But like, if you help once you learn the space in the industry in med spa, and you help them put on little, like we do like little re-grand opening events, or like one of our clients has a cryotherapy machine they bought, and we did a re-grand opening. We called it Cryo-Thin. And it was like using cryotherapy to lose weight. And it was just some stupid catchy name, but we did an open house event, like a grand opening event, just because I got a new machine. And they had 80 something people come through in a single day, selling a lifetime cryotherapy thing for like $85 a month. And they were super happy. And then they could upsell them on all their med spa services too. So like, even a med spa, like a Botox party, like throw them a little Botox in-house event in their clinic. And then now, instead of having onesie twosies, people coming through from direct to consult ads, now you can have a Botox party, get 30 ladies there, and like literally when they see everybody is buying, they'll be buying and injecting and paying like literally that night on the spot. And I guarantee that I'll probably collect 20, 30 grand in an evening versus maybe 20, 30 grand over an entire month. So like, that's the kind of power of these events and how they can perform. And if you do that for a client, like anybody who's an agency owner listening to this, like if you get them 20, 30 grand of revenue in a single night, they will forever be your client.
Yeah. And then, you say to them after that, if you're the agency, you're thinking, oh, that is amazing. You say, listen, we pick one partner per location, but you have to sign a year-long agreement with us. And you have to do a minimum of one event per month.
Yeah.
Is that you? It's like, hey, we just did 20 grand, or we just did whatever we did. And they're like, yeah, I want that. Right. Yeah. And then you're running up on the end. It's like, hey, do you want to sign your next deal? You want to keep people for longer. If you keep people past 4 months, they're going to stay a long time. And especially if you get them the outcomes. I mean, you're crushing it for people, right? They would be stupid to leave. And they should have the threat of, hey, I'm going to go to your competitor if in your exact market, if you decide to leave.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we had an event last week. 83 people showed one event. I think that was a record, and it was like $1,500 ad spend, something ridiculous. So
it is.
Yeah.
And
some people won't get 83 leads for $1,500, let alone 1,583 people.
What's really cool is that, Sam, we're taking a step further. That's why Derek, Derek and I are partnering up. And so we have obviously leads, coming in through lead forms, going into Go High Level. We've always texted and emailed and had humans calling the leads to get them to show up to the event, confirm their attendance, confirm guests, try to disqualify them if they're on Medicaid, things like you get from being in the industry. But now we're taking a step further, and every lead that comes through we have an AI outbound bot that calls them. And I've tested it myself, and I don't get impressed too often by things because I've been doing this a while, but like, it impressed the hell out of me. Like, the bot will call and ask, like, where's your pain? How long have you been in pain? How soon are you looking to get treated? Do you want to bring a guest? It'll ask all those questions, have a cool personality, dump all those notes in the notes section inside Go High Level, record, obviously the call. And now we have a webhook that Derek and I are working on and I just sent all that to you, Derek, by the way, but it'll convert it to an SRT folder or file, and a webhook or a push notification will push it out to a Google Doc or to a Slack channel. And we're going to be building out a thing where, like, a call center manager can now audit all the bot calls and just manage bots instead of humans. So now, like, on one of our clinics, they have 6 full-time call center reps. Eventually they're going to be phased out with AI. They're going to save probably $200,000 a year in salaries, and now have one person reviewing what the bots say and have a quality assurance, and just load all those SRT chats into ChatGPT and say, audit these calls. And they can now quantify the data of, like, what's the most frequently asked questions, where do you have gaps and issues and confusion on the calls, where's the bot sucking ass, and we need to have a human interject potentially. So that's kind of phase 2 where we're going with this, is like mass scale, where my goal is to fill like Vegas seminars with like thousands of people and have the bot calling hundreds of people a minute and just crushing it there. So that's kind of where we're wanting to head with things, hopefully by the end of the year. So
that's pretty huge, man. That is pretty huge. I tell you what, once you can, if you can create that much value for people, you can make a king's ransom of agency money. I mean, it just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Right. But I will say too, so I teach a class. I do it about once a month in our community, and it's around a tool I created called the Niche Navigator. Right. And the one thing that anybody watching, if you love the idea of this model, the ingredients that matter are, you have to have a narrow niche audience, right? And we're talking about a unique mechanism within a strategic agency model, right? But if you are trying to do this for all chiropractic, right, it's going to be a challenge. But what are you, Justin? So are you narrowed down specifically to what types of clinics, what types of things are you guys focusing this in on?
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much tell anybody, as long as the service is $3,000 or more, it can work. We do a lot in the sexual wellness space, which you wouldn't have an ED seminar for. We do a lot in the hair loss space. You probably wouldn't do a seminar for that. So obviously things that are very private and personal.
I was going to say, you don't do a seminar for an ED thing, do you? It's like, I'm not going to that one.
You see a bunch of dudes that are like, all right, this is awkward.
I think one of the things that I pulled out, now that I've started to integrate in and help these guys scale, is what a lot of people aren't doing that Justin's doing as well, is he'll take chiros sometimes and help them like do some of these other wellness, services, or kind of get them on board with being able to have some sort of high ticket item that they can, because a $50 adjustment, it's like, cool, like neat. Hopefully I come back, but what you find out,
my expertise is in the regenerative space, Sam. So all my seminars typically are regen med related, stem cells, exosomes, and then neuropathy, with more of a higher ticket neuropathy package. We do diabetes. A lot of docs are into diabetes now, and doing some insurance covered IV therapy stuff with diabetes, which is pretty cool. And then we'll do some mental health stuff. I think the mental health industry is a huge market that's very untapped and underserved. And so we're looking at functional
There's your
neurology.
free gold, YouTube.
Yeah, free gold for anybody watching this. We're getting into like functional neurology, functional medicine, opening up some brain clinic stuff down the road. So a lot of big things in the mental health space, I think, is going to be huge. So those are kind of where we focus. Anything outside of that usually is low ticket, and it just doesn't have enough margin to make it make sense. So
yeah, I basically arrived at the same conclusion. I just had them by names. I'm like, if you don't have at least one of these, if you don't have neuropathy, spinal decompression, non-surgical knee stuff, so we were doing regenerative stuff as well, and just different therapies. If you don't have one of these, we can't work with you.
Yeah.
Right. It's just not going to be compelling enough and worthwhile, and not unique enough. I mean, every category. If you're a real estate agent, everybody knows what you do, right? So
no one knows what you do, and you think everyone knows what you do. So
it's exactly right. So if you stay up there that category level, then it's like, okay, this is really hard. But you narrow down and I call it your opportunity gap. Every niche has an opportunity gap, right? And then we narrow down to the opportunity gap, and we layer in a value variable. And in this case, the workshop is the value variable. And I could not agree with you more. It is a fun way to do it. It's fun to win, right? And even if you don't win at a workshop, you got leads for cheap. And if you do it right, you can always monetize. Right.
For sure.
So
and that's what I say. I mean, like nowadays I go ultra conservative, and for anybody watching, I'm like I say a third of a third of a third. Like if you get our goal for us is KPIs, a little secret sauce. We try to shoot for 70 leads to get 20 to 30 people to show up. And then I'm like, out of those 20 or 30 people, a third of those people should show up to your office. You'll have about 10 people showing up, and you should sell about a third of those. So out of a 20 or 30 person event, you should have 3 high ticket deals minimum. If you're, if you suck at selling, that should be the minimum. So you should make about, depending on your sale price, anywhere from 15 to 20K. If you're a killer salesperson, you can make 30, 40, 50K. I mean, in one night. So just if you're selling high ticket, like
that's life changing for a client. So for most of them.
Yeah. And that's being ultra conservative. Like I said, a third of a third of a third. If you can't convert that, then you're not a good salesperson at all. And we'll coach them on that too. Like we have a lot of scripts and a lot of coaching stuff that we do to help these docs get their sales process up. Because most of them are great at care, but they are not good at asking for cash, especially if they're used to insurance, as I'm sure, Sam, you probably experienced when you were doing it. So,
and I kind of see that overall. You've peered into that as well, Sam. I know you help other marketers, but after helping other marketers scale this past year, I've kind of noticed that they're so worried about selling, and they're so focused on trying to get the new client that they never spend a minute to actually do something that's going to build value or do something extra for that client, or their potential prospect. Right? They're not a client yet, so and that's really the thing to think about, for some of the, if you're watching this, if you're newer and you're like just committing to this business and you're like, I'm burning the boats and this is my new career. You've got to start from a place of where you're working on your business to attract people and then add value. So setting up the right systems, I think, is so important too. For the stuff.
I think nowadays it's so competitive in this space, being an agency owner, it's such a commoditized service. People start up and cut their agencies within 30 days, 60 days so often that honestly, when I'm dealing with clients, I would say 10% of my relationship with them is actually about ads. It's mostly about what are you selling? How much are you selling it for? What's your product cost? What's your protocols? Are you packaging them up to have a unique offer that you can't get shopped? What's your office staff like? How much are they calling? What's their script? 9 of the 10 things I talk about are not even marketing related, because I know if everything else sucks, even if we crush a seminar, they're going to drop the ball and just be pissed at us and cancel. And so I think that's what really set us apart, because we have tons of clients that stick around long term. And I think that's because of my industry knowledge. I go to stem cell events, I go to ED events, I go to these doctor conferences all the time. I've been a coach at a lot of these integrating firms. And so literally 90% of my conversation with clients is being a consultant, and it's basically free, $20,000 worth of coaching consult they get for free for paying us $2,000 a month. So I think that's really what sets us apart. And if we have a shitty month with them, because we have that relationship, because we have that knowledge, they're not just going to be like, oh, well, you guys suck and you're not good at marketing, and they'll go find another agency. Like, we bring a lot of value. And so we try to get them on website and SEO services and replace all their website forms with our forms. So we get the credit for the organic leads. We add the chat bots, obviously the Facebook ads, the Google ads, all the coaching consulting. We have a call center, human still, plus all the AI we're launching. So we try to make it really sticky. And so anybody who's watching this as an agency, like, that's, I think, what you have to do nowadays. Like, if you just run Facebook ads, you're going to turn and burn clients like faster than you can ever grow. And that's like what I learned over the last 5 years is, like, you really have to know the industry and provide a ton of value, not just be a good marketer. That is not enough anymore, because there's 1,000 good marketers. UpHex makes it super easy. Google now basically you can hit PMax and launch campaign, and Google does it for you. Like, running ads is like such a small piece of the pie, in my opinion, for client retention. So.
Well,
Absolutely.
you've learned how to run ads to promote events, so it's become something pretty unique. Running ads is a commodity, right?
Mhm.
And anything you do, honestly, anything you do, if you focus too much on the features of it, they're all commodities.
Mhm.
But the same way you were talking to your doctors, it's like, well, what do you do that nobody else can replicate, right?
Right.
And when you focus on all of the ingredients, like, oh, okay, well, I know what that ingredient is. I know what that ingredient is. I know what that ingredient is. It's like, no. The ingredients do not matter. That's when, like, agencies really have a hard time being process-based offer creators, right? They're process basing, they're making offers based on their process.
Mhm.
That is not it. We are
Mhm.
outcome-based offers.
Solve problems.
Yeah, we are
Yeah,
outcome-based.
Derek always says that. He's good at saying that.
Stop selling SEO. Start selling
Yeah.
new patients.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So you're right. I mean, you don't talk about ads. You say, you know how when you have worked with agencies before, you get a lot of promises, you get a lot of leads. Wouldn't it be nice if instead of getting clients one at a time, we just sold clients in batches? Wouldn't that be better?
Here's the real way to think about it. Wouldn't it be weird if you went to go buy a cake from a bakery and they were like, come back here, check out the sugar bag that I bought that I used. Check out this amazing sugar. Let me show
This
you
is
the
the best
flour that
sugar.
I made with it. Like, who
I
gives
know.
a crap? Like, can I taste it? Like, let me see the
We got
cake.
little Jimmy back there hand rolled the dough for 18 hours.
We have the finest dough. No one cares, bro. I just want to
Yeah.
eat the cake. Like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Like,
I had
sell
one
cake.
of my mentors. He said nobody cares how the sausage is made as long as the sausage tastes good. And for some reason, I've always just resonated with that. I'm like, yeah, it makes total sense.
That
And
sounds
I think that's
right now.
one of my clients. He's in the Woodland, Texas, and this is kind of cool, Sam. He sells an insurance-based diabetes program, and he was working like 50, 60 hours a week. And we started doing events for him. I was like, dude, like, you have a badass insurance covered program that you make good money on. It's 24 visits over the course of a lifetime of a patient. Insurance is paying all the money, and it's like $400 a visit. So what is that, like, for like $8,000? I don't know, something crazy. And it's all insurance based. And I'm like, dude, like, we got to do seminars. So we started doing seminars for him. The guy goes and presents at a seminar for 2 hours on a Tuesday and doesn't work anymore, because the way the program works, his team can do the fulfillment. He doesn't have to be on site, and it's all insurance based. So you don't need an aggressive salesperson as the owner or someone like that. And he literally does one event a week, and he'll send me photos. He's in Africa killing like large game beasts and sending snapshots of rhinos and zebras. And I'm like, dude, like, he's living the dream, all because he's similar events. And that's the kind of life-changing situation where if you do that for a client, they will, like I said, be yours forever and refer. The biggest thing for anybody listening, they'll refer you a ton of business. And that's what's really growing our business. We don't even run ads. I mean, we haven't ran ads in forever. And we're at max capacity right now for our fulfillment team. Like, I told people, hey, just stop selling right now. Like, and it's all from just JV relationships and referrals. And so if you get those kind of results, that's what kind of snowballs into just bringing a lot more business. So
that is the other thing that I did want to talk about. I was like, there was something else. And that's really what it is. What Justin is probably better at than most other marketers, top 1% to 2%, is he's phenomenal at making relationships and what we call in real estate referral partnerships to have other people send you people. So he's just constantly working on that, which for me, like, watching him do that, it's like foreign. I'm like, bro, I can bring people from cold. He's like, why would you do that? Like, and he has a partner, and like, you don't even have to sell these people. They're just like, I heard the person that I just paid $30,000 to said to come to you, and they're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah. all our
Wild.
leads have closed. Like we had a huge leads list, and I think we have like 12 leads left to close out of like a huge batch. And so I just go around and present myself at these events, and 80% of leads close. And if I'm running cold ads, like it's like maybe 20% conversion rate, high no show, just like everybody. But and that's what if Joel Kaplan, I probably ran into him back in the day, Sam. Joel Kaplan, he ran a pretty big agency in the medical space for Kairos. I forget what it's called. He sold it. I think it was Search.
It was called
Atlas Digital.
Atlas Digital.
Atlas, yeah, I was thinking Search Atlas, but Atlas Digital. He sold it, but he was a big competitor of mine for many years, like in the early 20s. And I actually learned that from him. He said, go after power partners. That's what he called it.
Mm-hmm.
And that resonated with me. And immediately when I started my agency, that is what got us to $1 million that first year with 0 ads, was me already coming from the industry. So I had that luxury, but I just went after people I knew in the industry who were big players and influencers. And I said, look, I'm good at this shit. Here's the results I got from my own clinics. I'll do it for you. And it was an easy sell. And that has how I've grown my business. Almost 85% of our client base, I would say, is all from just referral network with power partners. So
yeah, I did the same thing. Blueprint to Practice Automation, you know those guys?
Yep. Oh yeah.
Yeah, they sent us a ton of business. You know, we worked a lot with those guys, had a lot of partners, and even vendors. Like I would go to, so there was a company that did Neon Track, what is it, Ergoflex. And I saw their device. So they had the knee decompression device. You seen that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I saw that device. I'm like, oh, I could promote workshops around non-surgical knee solutions using that thing as a unique mechanism. And I started doing that, and I started crushing it for their customers. And they called me up. They're like, hey, how are you doing this? Do you want to come speak at our seminar in Houston? And I would speak there once a year, and a bunch of customers.
That's what I do.
They sell their customers for me. And
exactly. I go to those events, set up booths, and just sign up, 20, 30 clients usually out of one event. And, you're making 30, 40K of revenue monthly from one event. I mean,
which
the
is
fastest
interesting.
way to boost your revenue.
You're proving your business model in reverse. You get customers for your customers using events, and then you get your customers using events.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it like that, but yeah, that's absolutely true.
Get them how you sell them. Get them how you sell them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be right there in front of people. People buy from, and especially today, they're going to buy from you because they trust you.
Mm-hmm.
That's 90% of it. They want proof, and they want trust. And then after that, you got to sprinkle on a little bit of unique something. And they're like, oh, I haven't done that before.
Yeah.
Right. And
a little secret sauce kind of lean into that, Sam. And this is something for anybody listening. If you know how to do B2B marketing, my pitch is I go out to like all the device manufacturers, medical device for my niche, because I'm a medical, but whatever, if you're construction or plumbing, just go to the big dogs that supply the equipment, the machines, whatever, the widgets. And I say, hey, look, I will generate you guys more business from our marketing efforts for free if we can set up a JV deal. And so we're really good at a whole separate side of our business. We have a B2B side, and B2B marketing is a lot more difficult, especially if you're trying to reach commercial contracts and things like that. But if you, as a listener, if you can figure out how to do some B2B marketing in your space and bring a handful of your clients to that manufacturer, that brand, they will forever refer you business back. So I have a list of 15,000 doctors in my CRM. I talk to 5 new doctors a day. I mean, I'm always on the phone hustling, working my ass off. And so when I have a new vendor relationship, I immediately, there was a red light manufacturer that we just brought on. And I immediately said, hey, I got guys who want red light. I didn't have anybody who wanted red light, but I went and found some guys who wanted red light, and I immediately sent them 3 leads. Next month, they signed up as a client for us. They're paying us a referral. We have a rev share deal with them, and they've already referred us 5 clients, all within a 2-month span. So that's probably another $20,000 a month in revenue from just me reaching out and saying, hey, guys, I can bring you clients. And so, that's kind of the secret sauce that, anybody listening will that will blow your business up if you can figure out how to fulfill on that. So
yeah, stop thinking what I always tell people. Stop thinking linear. A doesn't necessarily have to get you to B. Go around B, go to C, come back to B. You can get there 7 ways to the sun to get clients. So
it is pretty easy. So Justin, the question is, so you don't currently use UpHex?
No, don't use anything.
What do we got to do to get you to make more money?
We have one
on the docket.
we have
You know,
one
I'm
lady on my
sitting. You know,
team.
I'm sitting here, so it's a done deal, right?
We have one
Like,
lady on my team who came from in my company 4 years ago, not a clue about marketing or ads. I trained her from the ground up. She manages probably 70 clients right now herself manually, and I don't know how she does it. And she does a pretty good job. But obviously, you know, I want to implement UpHex. Derek's been selling on it. I've looked into. I've been part of your group on Facebook for a couple of years now, so I know what it is. Very familiar with what it does. I just, you know, being busy, it just hasn't.
You just like punishment. You just like
Yeah.
to, you just like punishment. You know, you're gonna
Yeah.
take that girl who does 70 campaigns, and she's gonna be your biggest fan.
You're gonna have a
Because
life
instead
again.
of working, yeah, exactly. Instead of working 80 hours a week, she'll be like, "Wait, I did that in 2 hours. Wait a minute,
Yeah.
is that possible?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be rolling that out. That's our initiative for May. You know, Derek and I have been hammering projects, and in May, into May, we'll have this stuff rolling. So I'd love to do a follow-up call with Sam in a couple months from now and say, you just saved us a ton of time, headache, and our staff and culture is much better now because of it. So that's
We're gonna do it, man.
That's
We're
the
gonna do it,
plan.
Derek.
This
We're
is
gonna
the
do
before
this,
and
buddy.
after.
Exactly, before and after.
Stay
I tell
tuned
you
for
what, man.
part 2.
The amount of effort that it used to take for I could never get past 30 clients when we were running ads manually. Just personally, I'm not that organized. Like me and Jake, we're not that organized. As soon as we installed UpHex, you know, and we started doing that, we went from 20 to 120 in 6 weeks, or no, in 2.5 months. And it was easy.
Yeah.
It was simple. So
Yeah.
Were you guys selling it as a SaaS at that
Crap
point? Or
out,
were you
dude.
just selling it as like it's still done for you ads? Like, did you
yeah, it was
change up your actual
2020 when
offer?
we were as a SaaS, yeah.
Yeah. And so you just, because I mean, do you know, there's a med spa company, Derek, I think I sent them to you, a bigger competitor in my space, and he sells, you know, ditch the agency and do it yourself. And he goes after med spas. He does a pretty good job of it. I think it's called Forever Spa or Forever Marketing.
Yeah, Jordan and Grayson.
Yeah,
Ursel?
Grayson. Yeah, Grayson Ursel. I get his emails all the time. So yeah, those guys I saw kind of pioneered the UpHex model. I'm assuming they use UpHex in the med spa space.
They're crushing it.
And they seem to be crushing it. And that's, you know, what I kind of want to get to a little bit of. Like, I still love the done for you, but it is exhausting. And I think if we could go after that. So talk to me a little bit about what you guys did when you went that route, Sam. I'd love to know like how you pivoted your offer. What did you guys sell it as? What was some of the messaging, your kind of unique mechanisms? What did that look like?
I think people do it better now than what we did. We were the first ones ever to do it, right? So we took HighLevel and plugged in UpHex, and I did a webinar with Blueprint, and I landed 53 clients in that webinar. And what we did here, this is if you're gonna try and do like 2 tiers, one where you do it for them, and then 2 where you do like a SaaS or something. What we did was I took one of my customers and I said, hey, if I demo this, they're not going to think they're going to think I'm some kind of magical guy. But if you do it, then they'll believe, right? And so I got on and I said, hey, it's the pandemic, right? I said, hey, you can replace your agency, run your own ads, and get better results. And prove that you can do it. Michelle Sims is going to come in and she's going to launch ads right here in front of you guys. And she did. She went in, click, turned on the ads. We went over to her ads, her ad account, and I said, there's your ads. They're built.
That's awesome.
And they're going. And people were like, oh, they freaked out and they just jumped in.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I think that's awesome.
And we were
what did you guys charge for that? I mean, like, you know, the traditional $2,000, $3,000 a month retainer done for you. What do you guys typically see people charge it for a SaaS, you know, do it yourself kind of mode? Like, what does that look like monthly generally?
Well, what we did back then is we didn't know because it had not been done before. So we're like, $297. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
And a lot of people signed up for $297. Yeah, it just went crazy. And then we went to $497, then $797, then $997, and then we kind of messed around with it before. Again, nobody was really doing it. Today, I have a much more informed position on it, right? And it really is about, like, I wouldn't say, Justin, you do a $297 offer. I think that would be silly, right? Just because of what outcomes you can create. Right. And your strategic approach. and the kind of clientele I think you would want to build your agency around. You would want to build your agency around winners. You don't want to, I mean, there's nothing crazier than saying, I can give this person 100 leads and that person 100 leads. This person hates me. That person loves me. What is the difference?
Right.
It's that person has learned how to run a business, right? And so the best clients are going to make you look like a champ. You know what I mean? And when you get a proven system that just works, the variable, the initial condition that changes and that you don't think you can control, but you can, is the client that you put into the program with you, right? And if you start saying, you know what, our best customers are the ones that are they're doing these services, they have this position, like an actual office, like an enrollment specialist, like a finance officer in their clinic. Like they have these positions in there. Like I can take that clinic from $100,000 a month to $500,000 a month.
Right.
You go in there and then you get those customers, and then you say, hey, if we're going to give you territory, like we're going to give you this entire territory and our system, we do a rev share, right? And then you start playing around with a little bit more, but you start making money for the value that you're creating.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so you're like way down. Like I would not be giving you the same advice I'd be giving to a person that's a year into this. You know, to that person, I would say you have two models. You can do a SaaS model, but honestly, I think you should start more high touch, working more with the people. So you're seeing how their businesses work. You're touching and we make it so easy with UpHex. It's just like, just get the flow of how that business functions and provide more of a service. You have more time than you have, money right now. So just earn that money, make higher margins on it, but lift where you stand. You know, at some point in time, if you're in real estate, if you're in medical, like med spas, if roofing, if we got a person that does garbage can cleaning,
Yeah, I've seen those.
And so your niche is going to dictate your fees, right? And the model is the strategy, right? But you're able to do high ticket, and high ticket you can print your own. You can do whatever.
Also, I think that's the next step for us, and Derek and I've been kind of pitching back forward, like add a consulting kind of coaching program inside of our Go High Level. Add the UpHex where it's like they can pay a one-time build and release. Yeah, they could buy like a one-time build and release high ticket, like $10,000 thing, or they could just pay us monthly high ticket and we do it for them. And I've been getting more into rev share deals now too.
Let me reposition this a little bit for you, right? I would actually position the unique mechanism. So do you give them a workshop?
We give them everything if they need it. Slides, call scripts, presentations, everything.
You give them the offer, the script, everything.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would do if I were you is I would position all the value on your brandable style of workshop. And I would put so much effort and focus on why that workshop is the best thing. It prints money, right? And I would focus everything on that. And then at the end, they're going to be like, okay, cool. What's the next steps? You say, well, I got a bonus for you. In order to make this thing work, you'd normally have to hire an agency and you have to have them run ads and all that kind of stuff. Our system is so fluid and so seamless. I'm going to give you our ad platform, our software for free. It's included. It's not really. I mean, they're paying you money. You know what I mean? But you just put all of the licensability, all of the productized delivery on the thing that you are so good at, that is your baby, that everything else becomes a component that they get for free.
Yeah. So do you feel UpHex could be, so you feel like the clients could use UpHex to launch their own seminar marketing? Is that what you're saying? Is that easy even for events?
Easy.
Okay.
I did it.
That's cool.
I did it.
Okay.
I don't think I know.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And in the med spa space, two of our, I don't know if they're our biggest user. We got people that have some volume, but I think Jake Randolph and Tony Cruz have over 500 med spa clinics. And I can't remember the name of their flipping agency, but they're
And
crushing.
changing that style allows you to go from 1 to 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 many to say, hey, we're going to do a group call where we all get on and we all launch ads together. Let's go. And
Are
instead
you
of
talking
having
about Forever
one
Books, by the
media
way, Sam?
buyer, you got
Yeah.
35 media buyers and
Yeah.
they're the doc or they're
Yeah.
their client.
No, the Ursula brothers are forever booked.
Yeah, Forever Book is one. I know they have a lot of med spa guys too, but yeah, either way, I think it's genius. Like in-house events, in-house workshops, dinner with the docs, lunch, whatever. I think that's the route we have to go. And yeah, I agree. There's a lot more we could do, and it's just been getting someone to integrate and help build all this stuff. And that's where Derek's kind of coming in and helping me wrangle some of these big picture ideas together.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to have you back, and you're going to come in and you're going to tell us how much money you're making using UpHex to productize what you have as a proven service. So that's pretty cool.
I feel confident we can double in revenue. So a year from now. So that's my goal. A year from now,
6
double in
months.
size. But yeah, I'm hoping 6 months realistically. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
Derek, appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Sam, glad we got to meet, man. Appreciate your time, and I'll shoot you the recording, and let's stay in touch, and we'll do a follow up here in a couple months, and hopefully give you some good news to report.
Sounds good.
Part
All
2.
right,
Stay tuned.